Appreciate it, man.
Thanks. What a weekend it was, the 2022 Arnold Strongman Classic. It was so good to be back there. You know, I think 2020 was a solid year for me. It was a good performance. I had a great 2019. And to be honest, I feel like I did underperform in 2020 a little bit. So, obviously with COVID, there was no 2021. And then getting the call to do the Rogue Invitational, which my performance there gave me the call to compete at the 2022 Arnold Strongman Classic. Was super honored, super excited, and it was a massive lineup of athletes, super stacked competition. And in talking to some of the athletes before the contest, I feel like I say this almost every time, that every contest I step into, it's the most impressive lineup I've ever competed against. You know, the Rogue Invitational, obviously just a massive group of athletes. I finished 6th there. And then stepping into the Arnold, I was a little bit worried because some of the events really didn't suit me that well. You know, max log, frame carry, and then, the stone to shoulder, which I thought would be a little bit better. We'll talk about that later. And, but I still had my goal of placing top 5. So if you've seen my videos before, you kind of know my mentality when it comes to this sport is I set a goal for myself, and that goal doesn't change until I reach it. So for the past 3 years, my goal has been to take top 5 at the Arnold Strongman Classic. So coming into this year, I had a game plan and I knew what I needed to do. Day 1 of the competition, we had max squat and then dumbbell for reps. So in training, I knew the max squat was going to be a good event for me. I think when the events initially got announced, I was kind of overlooked as an athlete that would probably finish middle to lower of the pack. Nobody was really talking about me too much in that event. And then that discussion changed pretty quickly as the weeks went on and I was putting out some training videos. And, ended up having the heaviest training squat prior to the competition. And then going into it, obviously we all saw JF squat and he looked like a piston out there and didn't struggle with one bit. So after JF's first attempt, I knew he was going to win the event. So my mindset was, okay, what do I have to do to lock up second place? Now, the rules of the contest is once you gave your attempt, you had to stick with that number. Except on the 3rd attempt, you were allowed to change the number 1 time. So after my 9:36 second attempt, I decided to go 9:66 for my 3rd attempt. At that point, Martins had locked in his 3rd attempt as 9:56. So in playing the game, I decided to drop down to 9:61 because I knew I just needed to beat him to take second place. I knew JF was going to win the event, so I did what I needed to do to lock in second place. Fortunately, went up, hit that 961 squat, actually felt the best out of all my attempts. I will say with the way the setup was for the squat, those pads were pretty soft, and it was hard to feel if I had hit them or not. So that's why in my first attempt, I kind of did that double dip with the 950 or the 856 on my first attempt, just kind of feeling it out. The 936 was a lot more confident, felt better, but my chest dropped a little bit at the bottom of the squat. So 961, I knew I needed to fully commit, go for it. And that was a massive PR. I've never squatted that much. I squatted 950 in training, 961 in competition, big PR, super happy with that for second place. Second event of the day was the dumbbell clean and press. So it was a 12-inch monster Rogue dumbbell, 275 pounds clean and press for reps. So luckily I was going second to last. I think we all knew going into this event Novikov was the favorite. And he proved that, hitting 7 reps on that dumbbell, which was so impressive. There was a few guys. There was Avengi, Luke Stoltman, and Martins with 3 reps, and then 2 and 1. Now, I knew JF was going after me. Dumbbell is not his strongest event. So I knew going into that, if I could hit 4 reps, it would lock me into second place with a first place finish for the day. So stepping up, talking to Joey before the event, I literally just wanted to go in and treat it as 4 singles, not a set of 4 reps. And that's exactly what I did. So went up there, got the whistle to start, hit my first rep, nice and solid, put it down, stepped away, took a few breaths. And that was my game plan, is just to use as much time as possible to get 4 solid reps, second place on the event, first place for the day. And that's what we did, which was awesome to see. Really big confidence boost, because going into the contest, I knew I needed to be in, really I wanted to be in first place after day 1 to really give myself the best possible chance at doing as much damage control as possible for day 2, knowing those events were a little bit weaker. So ended the day 1 in first place with 18 points, Novikov 16, Martins 15. Day 2 starts off with a max log. Now, obviously, my log is not as strong as it used to be. I ruptured my tricep in October of 2020 while attempting a press of 485 pounds. So I just wanted a PR in this lift. So in looking at the jumps and what everybody else was doing, I decided to come in at 380 pounds. Felt fine. My best in training before this competition was 400. That's what I took on my second attempt. And then I knew I needed to hit 420 to keep myself kind of in the mix in terms of points for the day. So luckily went out there, hit a really solid 420-pound log press. Didn't struggle too much. Stabilization overhead really is my biggest issue. That's something I'm going to be working on a lot for World's Strongest Man coming up in about 10 weeks. So even after 3 events, was able to hold on to the first place, which was great and put me in a good spot. Then we get to the timber carry. Now 2020, this event, didn't even pick the thing up, was pretty abysmal, so I was not excited to see that it was an event for the contest this year. But that being said, I did pick it up and I moved it about 10 feet, which is a huge PR. Ripped my hand on that event, which is not so cool. And one thing I didn't realize is my sister texted me after the contest. When the frame fell out of my hand, I looked at my hand and saw that I ripped my callus and it was bleeding. And I looked over at Carl Gillingham, the head judge, and I just was like, this sucks. Not realizing the camera was zoomed in on my face as I was saying that. Pretty much summed up that event for me. So I get the hand cleaned out, good to go. And now the stone to shoulder event, I actually felt kind of good about. Training, sandbag, 350 to shoulder, was doing some Atlas stone to shoulder. I was excited about it and felt I could do pretty good. Now, after the frame carry, was still in third place, so in position to still finish on the podium. And after seeing what everybody was doing, I knew I needed to get 1 rep to the shoulder. That would have kept me on the podium. Now, the thing with this event is it was a 2.5-minute event, but if you did not lap the stone in the first 30 seconds, you were done. So I go up, try to get my grip, feel like the stone's coming off, and then all of a sudden it slides out of my right hand, and I felt my hand rip open even more. At that point, the tape had rolled up to my fingers, and I was just bleeding all over, which in a stone event, which is going to require some grip, not good news. And unfortunately, because of that, I wasn't able to get the stone to the lap, zeroed the event, and that bumped me down to 5th place. But overall, still really happy because that was my goal the entire time going into the competition. I am so excited for Martins, who won. Novikov coming in with an amazing 2nd place finish, which watching him compete over the weekend with everything that's going on in his country might have been the most powerful and impactful thing I've seen in the sport of strongman. His first squat attempt, when they called out his name, the entire crowd of over 5,000 people stood up to give him a standing ovation, and it was one of the most emotional moments of the weekend. And then my really, really good friends, Luke Stoltman and Bobby Thompson, tying for 3rd, which put me in 5th. So overall, I'm really happy with how the competition went. There was so many amazing things throughout the weekend, seeing so many of you amazing fans taking all the pictures, and it really was just so good to be back at the Arnold with everything going on again, full swing. And, I think the coolest moment of the weekend, and Joey and I were talking about this, is I had been going to the Arnold every year since 2014. Actually, no, before that, 2012. And to go from being just somebody that watched all the sports and volunteered at the Amateur World Championships to now being somebody at the Arnold that people look for to take pictures with and recognize as we're walking around the expo, it was really a surreal full circle moment for me. And, to be a fan of strength sports and to be a fan of the Arnold weekend and now be on the other side of things where, there's lines of people taking pictures with me and I'm being recognized. It's really just a humbling moment in my career to be at that point. And it was so amazing to be able to put on a great performance, to be the smallest and lightest competitor, to take second place in a squat and second place in a dumbbell event, and really, put on a great performance and just give me a lot of momentum going into World's Strongest Man now. So, like I said, overall, such an amazing weekend. It was so great to see so many of you fans, and I really, really do appreciate all the love and support that I've gotten since the competition, and we just got to keep it rolling into World's Strongest Man coming up in only 10 weeks. So, trying to get my body to feel right again. I will say this is probably the most messed up I felt from a competition. On Saturday night, I actually was so sore and so uncomfortable that I couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't find a comfortable position to lay in. And it really just, it kicked the crap out of me, to say the least. So slowly starting to feel like myself again, doing some light work this week, and then jumping back into the gym next week to start my prep for World's Strongest Man. So again, thank you all so much for all the love and the support over the weekend. It was so amazing to see all of you, to take pictures with all of you. The comments and the messages and outpouring of love and support were just so amazing. Thank you to my sponsors that got me there, that support me and push me to be my best every single day. As always, check them out in the description below. Share the page, like the video, give us some love, and until next time, peace out.